Hi guys, it's Ms.Megan here, and I am going to share with you some Cunningham Technique exercises. And Merce Cunningham, he was a modern dancer. He was born April 16th, 1919. So he just had a birthday. He would have been 101 this year. So he was finishing up his 100th year. And he was a modern dancer. And he came up with his own method, his own dancing style, his own technique, and he codified it and made it into something that's still practiced today. He really wanted to focus on the body and how the body moves and the ways in which it can move and the shapes that it makes. He was kind of a no fluff kind of guy, and what I mean by fluff, which I don't think it's fluff, but there was no, in his classes, there wasn't any bar work. There was no shoes. You were barefoot. And he liked to be able to see the whole body. So he encouraged his dancers to wear unitards a lot or anything that was very form-fitting so that he could see the body and the lines and the way it worked. Today's exercises, they are focused mainly on the back. And he was very interested in separating or isolating the upper body and the lower body. So he was very interested in having the torso, this area, move separately from the pelvis. So in today's exercises, a lot of things we're going to do requires stabilizing our pelvis so that we can move our torso and upper body. His movement style might seem very simple, just at a glance. It's not at all. It's actually very challenging. It is very structured. It provides, he wanted dancers to have a really solid, strong foundation. And so when they were asked to do more difficult movements, they had a very steady and strong instrument to use. So his movements aren't very elaborate. They are, a lot of them they might seem kind of flat almost, but that's what he was interested in, and I think it's really cool. I've taken a couple Cunningham Technique classes, and I feel very strong after I do them. It also is great because you're very aware of the alignment of your body. Because these movements are very controlled, they're slower, it allows the dancer to realize, oh, my pelvis is tilting back or forward, or wow, my knees aren't really over my toes. So it's actually a really cool method. And so actually I have a lot of friends too who take Cunningham Technique classes if they have been injured, like kind of like a rehabilitation, because it's one of his goals was to build strength. So cool. We are going to get started. We're going to start in parallel. So Cunningham had a lot of interesting ideas with direction. So instead of thinking about a direction of a room, like there's the front of the room, or there's the back of the room, or a diagonal, he was focused that direction actually came from your own body. So front was the front of your body, diagonal was the diagonals of your body, and so on. So I'm going to go over the four kind of body positions that we are going to use today. So we're going to have just a plain first parallel. Whenever our arms are by the side, he believed in energy moving through your body. So it's not like we're holding our arms. Our arms are going to be rested or down at our side for certain things we're going to do at first. But it's almost like there's still energy moving through your arms. So we're going to do movements in first, parallel. Then we're going to do second, turned out. There's a lot of things we're going to do here where we're moving our upper body, and this part has to stay stable. If you do not feel stable you know, in your feet or your knees or doing weird things, you might be over rotating instead of rotating from your hips, you're rotating at your knees. So do not be embarrassed to kind of bring that in. I'm going to have to do that, just the way my body's set up. So we're going to do movements in our second position. Arms, if we are any type of arm in second, normally is here. It's very held. You want to think about those back muscles, like roots in a tree, they're holding you. And we're gonna do some side arm movements. So in second, arms will be here, or here, or here. Then, so that's parallel first, turned out second. And then he also talked about diagonal, and I mentioned that a second ago. So diagonal to him wasn't necessarily how you were facing the room, it was within your body. So our diagonal, we're going to use third arms, so that's like our third position almost. You are going to your diagonal. So for me, and your body would be different, I would be going this way or this way, focusing on the direction of my body. So the first exercise we're going to do is we are going to do contractions, and we are going to do, we're going to pulse them, or we're going to give them a pulse. So we're going to do 8 pulses, contraction pulses, and then we're going to do 4 plies. So we're going to start in parallel, like I just said. We're going to start in parallel. Our arms, we're going to come around like we're giving a ball, like we're wrapping our arms around a ball. And we are going to, you want to think about curving from your sternum. So everybody feel your ribs. Oh, there they are. You got some floating ones down here. So right here in the center, this is your sternum. You want to think that you are curving over a ball, or you're folding in this part. So everything is staying elongated, but this area is folding over. And you want to also think about your head. It's going out. It's not down. It's out. So it's a curve from here. Mary, I remember when we were coming up through jazz, Mary put a lot of modern in our jazz class, and she talked about like almost somebody punched you in the stomach. So again, it's not necessarily your stomach that's moving, it's your sternum, but it's the same kind of feeling that you're concaving. You're making a concave shape. So we're here, we're going to do 8 pulses. You want to think about your hips staying still. So stability in the pelvis, mobility in the torso. So 8 pulses. And then you're going to come up and your arms are going to come down, and we're going to do 4 plies, 2 counts down, 2 counts up. So 1, 2, 3. And it's going to be slow, and you can focus on making sure your alignment's good. Ms.Megan's got a lot of curves going on, so I got to make sure my alignment's good. So again, 8 pulses, 4 plies. Then you're going to do the same thing. Turned out in second. Again, watch, where you're rotating. You should rotate from your hips, not your knees. If you feel like it is not stable, you can't balance, you might need to bring it in a bit. And our arms again are going to come in. We're going to do 8 pulses. And our arms are going to come up. Actually, arms are just going to come out. And we're going to do 4 plies, 2 counts down, 2 counts up. And then we're going to go side to side this time. So we're going to go right, 8 pulses. And then instead of doing plies in between, we're going to do right, then left, and then your pulses. So that's going to kind of count as like almost another position. So we did a right 8 pulses. As soon as you finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you go left. And you're thinking about that sternum still, keeping this all stable. Then you do your 4 pulses, or your 4 plies. So they're going to, arms again here because we're in second. And then it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all that good stuff. Then you're going to go to your diagonal, and your pulses, instead of being rounded, are going to be here. And you're going to you're going to think more about, it's going to give you more option or availability to curve here and really think about this negative space. You're going to do 8 pulses. Here you got to be really careful not to let your hips move. 8, come up, 8, come up, 4 plies, okay? Cool. Here we go. We're going to start on the second count of 8. That was the first, second. Here we go, contraction with pulses. Exercise number 2. We are going to keep those same 4 positions is what I'm going to call them. So parallel first, turned out second. This time we're going to skip going to the sides. We're just going to go straight into our diagonals. So here's what we're going to do. This one feels so good, but it takes a lot of focus. And it takes a lot of control. So Cunningham really wanted to focus on the movement of the muscles. So that's why there's a lot of kind of like holding, or not straining, but stability, because he wanted the muscles to move the body. And you know, sometimes in order to really feel those muscles, you have to do things a little bit slower. So a lot of his movement has a slower feel to it. So we're going to start in our parallel again. We're going to do our contraction. So we're going to go, it's going to be 4 counts. It's going to be slower. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to plie. And as you plie, you're going to go into a flat back. So this is, when you do parallel, you're going to go flat back. Your arms are going to go front. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're going to straighten for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you straighten, you're going to elongate. Make sure you're not back on your heels. And then you're going to use those nice back muscles down here and your abdominals to lift you up. And we're going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be a little slower than this. And then, so that's the first little section. Second section is straightening out to a flat back, but your knees are in plie. Make sure those knees aren't going over your toes. Make sure you're in line. And then the next section is 4 count straightening up. Make sure again you're not leaning back into your heels, and you're like that straightening up should make your arms elongate, and then you're gonna lift up. And then, so 2 times to the front, then you're gonna find your second. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is tricky. I'm gonna just say that, and I need you to be very aware of your pelvis, because what's gonna wanna happen, I'm sure you guys have maybe done this in jazz, what's gonna wanna happen is you're gonna wanna, if you're to the side, you're gonna wanna rock back, and you're gonna wanna kind of lean into that back space. You don't wanna do that, and so again, if you need to narrow your second position, fine. It's not so much about how perfect it is, it's more about the placement and alignment of your body. So you'll bring your arms 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're gonna plie, your arms are gonna come out to second. Again, you're gonna have to make sure those knees are going over your toes and your back is flat. Then you're gonna straighten your knees. This is a challenging area because you're gonna wanna lean back, try to make sure you're going forward, and then straighten up. And then you'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plie, arms go out to second this time. 4 counts straighten, 4 counts up. Last part is we do it to our diagonal. So we go, and this time our arms are gonna completely close. 1, 2, instead of going here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in our plie, you're gonna, it's very tricky, but you know, a challenge is good. You're going to your corner, so you're here, but your flat back is to your diagonal. Straighten your legs, up, turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, plie, reaching, straighten, up. So that one's tricky, especially for me, so we're gonna just do it together. So 2 each direction, okay? 4 counts each little segment, okay? Follow along. It's a little slow, but slow's good. We're gonna come in on the second 8. First 8. Or sorry, we're gonna come in on the third 8. We're gonna give it 2 8s. Here we go. Straighten. Knees. Come up. Flat back. Straighten. Up. Second position. Flat back. Straighten knees. Up. Keep your arms here. Straighten. Up. Good. So it's very controlled. If you're like me, you're gonna wanna like grip your muscles. Try not to. So there's a difference between stabilizing and engaging and gripping. And that's a challenging concept, one that I'm still learning and working on. And everyone's body's different. So some of you might feel super good to do this, and some of you might be like, I know. And it's fine. It's okay. All right, exercise number 3. This one will be a nice little breather. We're gonna do prances. So he, just as like he liked articulation of the spine, he liked articulation of lots of body parts, so the feet included. So we know our prance is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other foot down. This is gonna be a really nice time. I'm so sorry you have to just watch me the whole time. It'd be cool if you could do this somewhere near a mirror so you could watch yourself. Because that's what I actually really love about Cunningham classes. A mirror isn't needed, but because you can feel it. But I love looking at my body and realizing like, ooh, oh dear. And just not in a negative way, but in a way that it makes me aware. Because as dancers, that's so important, whether it's in modern, ballet, jazz, tap, African, whatever, hip hop. You have to be aware of what your body's doing. You have to be able to be sensitive to the placement of it. So this is a good time for that. Sorry you have to watch me the whole time because I'm going to be watching me too. So anyway, we're going to do 8 prances parallel switching feet. So it's going to be 4 on each side. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Turn it out. Now, first position. My heels do not come together because I got some calves and some curves. So find your best first position. Whatever is good for your body. This is what I'm doing. And then same thing turned out. Me. Thinking about stability. 8 times. And then we'll repeat it parallel and first. This is just a nice foot warm up. These are things that we have done a lot in modern or in jazz, but there's something really precious, that may not be the right word, but there's something really juicy and great about doing really controlled movements, and Cunningham thought so because that's how he created this, because it really allows you to, I don't like the word perfect, but it allows you to really hone in on it. All right, we are going to jump in on the third count at 8. So we're going to let 2 counts of 8 go by, and then we're going to jump in on the third. This is the second. Arms, energy. Now turn it out. Raise your pelvis. You also have to engage in your abs. After Cunningham classes. Okay, last exercise. is going to be some more spinal articulation or spine movements. We're going to start in parallel, surprise, surprise, and arms. Sorry, I think when I was doing the prances, I kind of went to first. He didn't do first. He was more like down by your side with energy. I think that's the ballet training in me wants to go here, but his was more down, just kind of by your side, but there's still kind of energy through the fingertips. We're going to rotate, so pretty sure it's 4 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to make sure you're rotating. I just noticed my ribs are off. You want to make sure you're rotating in your torso, your sternum area, not with your arms. I tend to do that, so this is a good checker for you guys. So straight legs, energy going down, and thinking about your muscles moving and stabilizing your hips. 4, 8, 8. Then we're gonna so that's the first part of that. Second part, do the same thing, but you're gonna add a plie. So plie, straighten, plie, straighten. Then we're gonna do the same thing that we just did. Plie, contract, up, straight. Plie, contract. This is going to be a challenge because you have to think about, okay, knees over toes, hip straight forward. I'm turning here, tucking my pelvis in. There's a lot going on. So that one's going to be a challenge. And then we're going to do that whole sequence in second. So the first 2 are rotations, spinal rotations. You're going to do 4 counts going away, 4 counts coming back, 4 counts going away, 4 counts coming back. This time we're going to do, because we're in second, we're going to keep our arms here. So 4, 6, 7, 8. Are you pulling your abdominals? 8. Then we do a plie. 1. Are we good? 6, 7, 8. I'm watching myself as I'm doing, or we straighten here. And then 1, 2, 4, 8. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Your back should probably be sore after all this. I remember I took this fun story before we keep going. I took this class, I took a Cunningham class at the American Dance Festival last year, and I loved Cunningham again because it makes you feel really strong. The next day, I was like reaching. I really felt those muscles. I knew exactly where they were. All right, here we go. Starting parallel. I think we're going to jump in on the second count of 8s. I don't think we need to wait that long. I just like to prepare myself, but jump in on the second count of 8. Here we go. This is slow. Try to keep moving, don't stop. Now we're adding a plie. Plie. So that is our Cunningham exercise for today. Again, I'm not a certified Cunningham method teacher, so, you know, I'm sure there's better. But that was Cunningham. Go do some research about him. It's fun. I love learning about dance history, and it's a wide range, but yeah, go learn some. All right, love you guys. See you later. Have a great time at home. Bye.